All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's late on the evening of Saturday, October 17th, 2020. I'm Roy Potter, and I received a few texts and um, DMs today because people are starting to look at this Messiah ben Joseph, Mashiach ben Joseph thing that's been going around. That, we've started talking about what the rabbis are saying in Israel, many of them, about their Mashiach is about ready to be here. And this has happened uh, throughout history. But we had the Bar Kokhba rebellion that was put down by the Romans. Bar Kokhba was supposed to be the Messiah. We had a guy by the name of Athranjas. And people have correctly found out, or I should say, it's been pretty much explained now that the Jews look for three particular messiahs. They look for a messiah from the line of Aaron, the Levitical priest, the Aaronic priesthood. They look for a messiah from the Messiah ben Joseph, which is what my Crimson Thread book was about, partially. And then the Messiah ben David, or the Davidic king, the Davidic Messiah. So they basically have three messiahs that they talk about. My purpose here tonight is not to get into that in any great detail, except to talk a little bit about the Messiah ben Joseph, the Mashiach ben Joseph, because that's the one that seems to be that's being attributed mostly to this movement right now, at least publicly. Uh, so I would just say this, and I had to come on tonight because I felt like it was important enough to bring up. And I'm not going to give a lot of information about the Mashiach ben Joseph tonight, uh, other than to say that the understanding of the mission of the Mashiach ben Joseph is that he will die in the course of his mission. He will die in battle, or he will die just as a matter of course. So, what do we do with the situation if, in fact, we're looking at President Trump being somehow involved in this entire Mashiach thing? Well, he wouldn't be the Mashiach ben Aaron. He wouldn't be the Aaronic Messiah. No possibility of that. I see people arguing that the Antichrist is supposed to come from the east. Well, it depends upon what you're talking about, east. But I'm not even going to go there at this point. The reason why I wanted to come on tonight is to explain to those who do not understand, who do not know the the, the Jewish perception of things, that and even ancient Israel perception of things, that the Mashiach ben Joseph dies in the course of his mission. Well, my estimation at this point is that there is no way that Trump fulfills the Messiah ben Joseph requirements. Uh, there could be some arguments about that, but I take two stands on it. First of all, that he has already received the wound in the head and is guaranteed another 3.5 years. Well, then he could die in his mission then only if he's taken out by the real king of the universe. Not saying it couldn't be, but I don't think that that quite fills the bill. Plus, it's my contention, very much against traditional Christianity, that the real Messiah ben Joseph was crucified by Pilate over 2,000 years ago. And I talk about that in my book, The Crimson Thread. and about the fact that there's a restorer, and the restorer is the Taheb. And there was one Ephraimite, which would be proper because, as I explained in my video today, Joseph, and we could get into some details about Joseph of Egypt, putting the Egyptian people in slavery to Pharaoh. But unfortunately, when Joseph did that, he finally ended up, and this is the curse I was talking about, because he had been sold into slavery for God's purposes and then turned around and did the same thing to others that had happened to him. And as a result, his line was cursed as well. And as a matter of fact, because of his errant behavior and the way he handled the things for Pharaoh to give glory to Pharaoh, uh, the Israelites went into bondage for 400 years. So it came back on him, right? So the birthright went from Joseph to his oldest son. Actually, his oldest son was Manasseh, but it went to Ephraim, according to the blessing of Isaac upon the two sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. It was supposed to go to Manasseh, but for some reason or other, Isaac said that it was supposed to go to, or Jacob, I should say. That Jacob gave the blessing, Israel gave the blessing to, the birthright blessing to Ephraim. And the Teheb that came to take care of the birthright responsibilities, to become the father of the house, was crucified 2,000 years ago. Big arguments about whether that was the you know the son of David and all these other things, but it matched up because the son of David's supposed to be able to defeat all of his enemies. It's the the son of Joseph, the son of Ephraim, that dies in the course of his mission. I wanted to leave that with you tonight. If my cogitation and my analysis on this is correct, uh, the rabbis know that under the circumstances, Trump's not the Messiah ben Joseph. They might be pushing that, but that's not it. And if that's the case, especially with the events of the last 2 weeks, uh, we're in for some serious stuff in the next little while. I'll just leave it at that. Just wanted you all to know, yeah, is the Biden campaign finished? I think we can say that that's the case. It's like I said, a week or two ago when I told you about it today, that there would be some information that would come out that would be worse than the monetary corruption. That there would be other things that would be coming out, and they are. They're going to cascade here. It's already started, and they're going to cascade over the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. All the information about the really nasty stuff, not just the drug use and the prostitutes and all that, but some really other nasty stuff that's involved in that, which was hinted at when they talked about the FBI files. You saw it. I put it on the link today about what those things are, right? When you listen to the Chinese talk there and you read the subtitles. So I just wanted to come on and explain that the Messiah ben Joseph has to die in his mission. And that in my estimation, the Messiah ben Joseph did already come. And he claimed the birthright for the house of Israel. He was the father that and he called himself the Father. He said that those you who have seen me have seen the Father, meaning that he had the birthright blessing. The birthright isn't in Davidic line. It isn't in Judah. It started in Reuben, who laid with one of Israel's wives, one of Jacob's wives, one of his concubines actually, lost his birthright, and then that birthright was delivered to Joseph, who had the coat of many colors. And who had the dream about the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down to him. And then his brethren, being jealous, sold him into slavery. and he rose because of the dream that God gave him. He rose to be the most powerful in Egypt, only below Pharaoh, and in fact eventually became Pharaoh. Right? If you don't know the history, that's what happened. But then what he did was is he turned around and he did to others what had happened to him. So he didn't learn his lesson. He was kind of an upstart young man, full of pride, uh, kind of impudent, insolent, because he had the benefit of his mother pushing for him and some other things. Um, so Joseph mistreated people with what he did, with what I read to you today in Genesis 47. And because of what he did, as I said before, he he lost the birthright to himself, and it went to his son Ephraim, according to the blessing from Jacob, Israel. And as a result of what he did, the Israelites went into bondage for 400 years. A similar thing happens just before Christ comes along. John Hyrcanus, one of the Maccabees, forces the Herodian family, who are Edomite Arabs, forcefully converts them to Judaism under pain of death if they don't. Well, that's not a true conversion. And as a result of that hideous sin that John Hyrcanus and the impostor high priest at the time pulled off, God then removed the scepter from Judah, from the Maccabees at that point, who probably weren't actually from Judah anyway, removed the scepter from them and gave it to an Edomite Arab by the name of Herod. And thus, the second temple was an abomination because it was built by somebody who didn't have the right to do so. So the thing that happened to Joseph, where he went against the law and he lost his birthright and went to his son Ephraim, and his own people went into bondage under the next Pharaoh, the same thing happened because of what John Hyrcanus did with the Herodians, and then God, through the Romans, putting the Herodians in power, and the Maccabees lost everything. Messiah ben Joseph was crucified 2,000 years ago by Pilate. Again, his name was the Taheb. That's what they called him, the restorer. And he was an Ephraimite. That's all I got for you tonight. This is just kind of like not an analysis, but a cogitation. And just to let you know that there's some big, big deceptions afoot. Okay? I'm tired. I'm going to bed now. I had a good day with my family. We went to the races and we hung out, had some food and drink, and played with the kids, and it's been a good day. What do I think is next? Well, if you follow the situation as it exists right now, uh, if in fact Trump is who I think he is, he's gonna save the world, but it's not the world you want to be saved. And then it's going to turn into all hell on earth. 3.5 years. We're halfway through the tribulation, if this is correct, what we're talking about right now. And the next 3.5 years are going to be hell on earth. Okay. That's all I want to talk about, was just this problem with Joshua ben Joseph. The Mashiach ben Joseph, they also call it Joshua ben Joseph, Yeshua ben Joseph. Yeshua just means salvation. As a matter of fact, it was mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls. A lot of people mistook the Dead Sea Scrolls when it talked about Yeshua. It wasn't talking about a personality. It was talking about God's salvation. But that's a whole other story. You have to understand history and what really happened. So buckle up. Trump will win the election, or I should say, it won't matter whether he wins or not. He's the guy that's going to be there. Okay, that's already in the cards. It's already obvious, and everything that's happened with the Bidens. I mean, just what they are right now is getting people upset at the Democratic Party, and they're leaving it. And you'd think that this was a good thing, but the wicked destroy the wicked. And this further information that's going to come out about the Bidens is going to push more people, even more people, towards Trump. They're going to look at him as the savior, which the Israelis are already saying he is, that he's the king of Israel, the prince of Israel, which means he's the savior. And it's going to go where the whole world is going to say, wow, this is the dude. Buckle up. I'll see you later out here.